Welcome back to the Bullpen Podcast, where we sit down with business leaders to talk about their journey, the lessons they've learned, and what it takes to build something that lasts. Today, I'm joined by Jeremy Sudbeck, owner and president at Kramer Services, a fifth-generation family business that's been serving the Twin Cities for well over 125 years. Jeremy works closely with customers throughout the region, helping grow a company that's built its reputation on quality, trust, and long-term relationships. In this episode, we'll talk about what it takes to lead a business with such a rich history, how customer expectations have evolved over the years, and why investing in people and relationships continues to be at the heart of Kramer's success. Jeremy, thanks so much for stepping into the bullpen.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here this morning, Dylan.
Kramer Services has been around since 1898. How do you honor a 125 plus year legacy while still pushing the business forward and embracing change?
It really just comes down to embracing those relationships that we've had for such a long time throughout our history with our customers. And it's really focused around a family first approach. We try to treat everybody that comes into our shop as family, truly understand their issue, their problems, and then help to solve from there. So really just building on that legacy of family has been kind of our key success throughout the entire 125 plus years.
Awesome. And kind of building off that, family businesses often have a unique culture. What makes working at Kramer different from working for a large national repair chain?
I think the biggest difference in a lot of just the family businesses is just the ability to have your voice heard. In a lot of big chains, there's a lot of emphasis on the profit and just making sure the numbers are hitting those targets. Obviously that's important for any business, but when it comes to a family-run business, you want to make sure that the employees felt like they are heard and really understand, what that vision looks like. And if they have an idea for change, that you try to take a peek at it and really understand where they are seeing things. Because sometimes, them being on the front lines with customers every day may have an approach that, we haven't seen before or had an idea that we really didn't look at as appropriately as we should. So just making sure that those voices are heard and that they feel like they are really a part of every decision when it comes to our business.
Also, it probably comes with a less ulterior motive, right? When it comes to certain products and things like that.
Yeah, really. There's for our business model, there's no pressure for our service advisor or techs to trying to be upselling customers. There's no incentives that we have for that approach. Our biggest thing is that we're looking at the customer's problem and then coming up a game plan with them. As you can imagine, everybody has a different budget, and especially in today's economy, just things can be pretty tight when it comes to a vehicle that you may have had 5-10 years, and it needs quite a bit of work. We'll kind of get a game plan set together with that customer to make sure this is most critical. This has got to be done now, but hey, we can set this aside for the next 2 months. And then this one will be further down the road and really start game planning on what that cost is going to be. It really seems to smooth out or really not have any, pressure sailing, and customers really do appreciate that.
Excellent. And again, segueing into my next question. So you work in an industry where trust is everything. How do you earn a customer's confidence when they're coming to you during a stressful situation?
I think the biggest thing that we try to do is really communicate up front. I think anytime there's ever been an issue in the automotive, in the truck industry, the biggest thing is it's just been the lack of communication, not truly understanding what the customer had for the problem or them understanding us with our solution or what we are seeing. So just really focusing on communication. And sometimes that even requires having them come in, showing them videos via the phone, or just even having them come in while it's up on the rack, taking them back and really pointing out the areas that we're seeing and just showing them, this is what we're seeing. This is what's causing that issue. But this could also lead to this, this, and this. So just making sure that they truly understand what the problem is and just gaining their trust by showing them, just not being, oh, yeah, you got to have this or else, you're going to crash, making them almost feel like a pressured sale. It's a truly a relationship building, a partnership between the two. That really seems to help our customers. We have multi-generational customers, where we've dealt with their parents and now we're seeing their kids, we're seeing grandkids come in. It's truly amazing just to see that. And it all stems from that partnership where they're like, we just trust Kramer to really explain everything to us and just make sure like, yeah, my vehicle maybe does need brakes, but we can wait till winter. We can get an extra few months at it, and there's not that pressure to have the brakes done this exact moment, have that upsell. We're in this for the long haul with them, and it's a true partnership.
That's why you've been around for so long. From generation to generation, just carries on. So you've spent your career in sales and business development. What's one lesson you've learned about building relationships that applies regardless of the industry?
Yeah, I think regardless of the industry, a lot of times it's just zipping your lips and just listening. I think anytime there's dead air, dead space, people just want to just word vomit and try to talk over each other. The biggest thing that I would emphasize to a lot of people is almost just to be quiet, listen to your customer, listen to your partners, truly understand what they're saying, and then ask really good pointed questions. Because sometimes what they're saying is like, "Oh, I'm not in a hurry." Well, what is not in a hurry for you? Is that a day? Is that 2 days? Is it a week? Is it a month? And truly understanding what they mean in certain situations to truly grasp where their expectations are. Because that's where I see a ton of downfall is just not truly listening and truly having a firm understanding of what their expectations are. And so it's really just making sure you ask those pointed questions so we don't come to the problem where it's been a couple of days and now they're calling frustrated because you hadn't had a chance to look at their vehicle or look at their truck because we just didn't have a good understanding and really had everything communicated properly.
You've seen the automotive industry become increasingly technical. How has technology changed the expectations customers have today?
I think the biggest, expectation for customers is one is that they kind of think that they have a diagnosis before they come in. They use Google, they use chat. They think they've got the fix before they come in. They're trying to say, "Oh yeah, it's going to be this," and they're really just trying to have you just not even do the diagnostic. It's really just go into the fix. It's really just trying to slow them down to say, "Yep, you know what? That does sound right. That seems spot on." But let us run a few of our tests, whether it's something with exhaust, doing a smoke test, hooking up scan tools, seeing what errors we're getting back, what kind of codes we're getting, seeing what the most common failures for those codes are. All that's very, very important because it can lead you down a really bad, oh yeah, that sounds right. Let's just go ahead and replace that part. I think you're right. Well, and now it doesn't fix the customer's actual issue because you just skip that portion. So I would say that would be the one of the biggest things. The other thing is just there's so much technology on these vehicles today. So just, making sure that a shop that works on every make and model, we have the right tools and technology to service, 95% of the issues that are coming in. We can't carry everything, we don't have unlimited funds to have all the technologies, but all the different calibrations, whether you're talking a backup camera, front camera, your speed, your auto braking, all those different sensors and electronics have calibrations that need to be done. So having that technology just to continue to service these vehicles is another big, big part of our business.
I am guilty of using AI to diagnose issues with cars. I know nothing, but I'm also not going to leave anything to chance. So I would hope other people don't too. But luckily, you and the team at Kramer are there to steer them in the right direction.
Yeah, it can be really hard with customers because, they're trying, everything in their power to do the research, to feel knowledgeable because it's a scary thing. I mean, coming from my background from the technology sector, coming in, I grew up in a small town in South Dakota. So I had some background of working on vehicles, doing small things like oil changes, but there was a lot of it that I didn't know. So it took me doing a lot of research as well. And that's what I see customers trying to do. So it's just making sure you reiterate and communicate with them that, hey, that's great. I love that you're becoming knowledgeable and truly understanding that. And I always emphasize if you're not comfortable, like go get a second opinion. This is sort of like going to the doctor. If you're not fully confident that in the answer that we gave you, there's always that option. Now, does it cost more money? Yeah, but there are other options out there for you guys to continue to make sure that you're comfortable with the solution, that no matter where you're going, you're getting that end result that you're looking for.
It's something you use every day. So yeah, pays to be thorough for sure. What do you think separates a great service business from one that's simply good at fixing vehicles?
I think the best thing when it comes to being a really good service first team is communication. Um, Throughout our history, we've had people that you could talk to somebody almost immediately. You weren't calling, Kramer Services, press one for this, press two for this. You were getting a voice right away from our receptionist at the front desk. What is the problem? They're helping direct you to our right department. We have 4 different departments at our shop, from automotive, spring and suspension, to heavy duty truck and RV, all the way back to collision. So sometimes there is some piggybacking off each one of those departments. Maybe it's something that needs suspension, so it might be in our automotive, but it's also going to be coming into our collision center because there was some damage when they hit a deer or whatever it may be at that point in time. So just having that interaction right away with the customer, that they're not feeling frustrated. They're getting somebody right away. They don't have to go through 7, 8 prompts. They're getting put to the right connection, the right service advisor. And then from there, game planning out the entire solution or fix, for that customer, and then giving them a timeline. Because at the end of the day, people want their vehicle back. They want, whatever it may be, in a timely fashion. So just making sure you're setting those expectations up. Where I see people and other service advisors fail a little bit is their lack of communication and not setting those expectations up. We're all human. Things do fall through the crack, but you have the right expectations set up with the customer and you're over communicating, things tend to run very smoothly and it leads to an outcome that everybody can appreciate.
And what's been one of the biggest challenges you've personally faced in helping grow the business, and what did it teach you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, just coming from the technology industry, was you don't have to be kind of the trendsetter of being first in line to get a new technology. Really, just understanding how that piece of technology is going to fit into your business model is a huge key factor. Because there's definitely technologies out there for every make and model of vehicle that sometimes just doesn't fit your business model. So sometimes for me, I'm very, I love AI. I love all the widgets and gadgets that are out there for everything. So just not getting too ahead of myself of like, oh, we need that. That's going to be the next best thing. It's truly, understanding what that tool is going to do for your overall business and just making sure it's a good fit, because there's nothing worse than, making a very expensive purchase on a tool that all of a sudden is just sitting in a cabinet that we're not using on a daily basis.
Wrapping up and kind of touching on the technology discussion, looking 5 years down the road, what excites you most about where Kramer Services and the automotive service industry in general is headed?
I think the thing that excites me the most is that the younger generation is really not looking at that they have to go to a 4-year school, that there is a really good career path in the trades. I think when I was growing up, if you didn't go to a 4-year school, people kind of looked at it as maybe, well, what are you doing with your life? Are you going to set yourself up for success? Are you going to be this hardworking person? Or are you just not going to school because you want to be a slacker? I think a lot of kids now are looking at the trades, whether that's the automotive industry, electrician, plumber. There are so many great trades out there that we have a shortage of. There's a shortage of techs across the board. And that's what I think excites me the most, is I'm seeing the younger generation really looking this as a career path for them for a long term. And it can be a really amazing career path, especially if you get into the correct environment or the correct company that's going to really help you flourish and get to where you want to be. There's so many great different paths that you can take, whether you just want to be a technician for 20, 30 years, and be working on your simple American model makes, or if you want to be a specialty, if you want to work on the Porsches, you want to work on the really high end expensive cars. If you want to go into more custom, there's so many different avenues makes when you are a technician. And then it even leads into service advisor, service manager role, where you're having to interact and deal with people. So there's so many great career paths that come with the trades. And I think that younger generation is really starting to grasp and see that. And it makes me really excited to see where the industry is going to go with the new generation coming in with that excitement.
I agree 100%. That is very exciting. I asked ChatGPT to change my oil the other day, and it just didn't work. I don't know why. I thought AI was supposed to make everything easier, but no, I think
definitely would give you the list and all the steps. It just, it ain't just going to do it for you, but it's pretty impressive, pretty impressive. Just I'll help with a couple of different other trade schools, whether it's a trade show or sitting on their boards, and just seeing the enrollment, through the last, I would say 4 or 5 years, just continue to climb, where they were having trouble filling all the seats to now they're on wait lists for kids. It's really exciting. And I think we're going to see a really big shift where kids aren't feeling so pressured that, 4-year school is the right option for me, that there are other options out there that can lead to really great career paths. We just got to make sure that they understand what their interests are and really focus on that for the kids of the future, which is, for me, really exciting, as a dad of 2 young girls, to see them, what they're going to be interested in, just kind of leaving the door open to them of there's so many great career paths out there. We just got to figure out which one best suits you.
Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed our conversation and how you put customer service at the forefront and lean into innovation. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the Bullpen Podcast wherever you listen and share it with someone else who might enjoy it. Jeremy, thanks again for stepping into the bullpen.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dylan. It was wonderful.